and persuade people to actually cancel there. Secondly is around our buildings. We've asked all of our countries to go back this year and see the availability. We operate in 56 countries in the world, and we know that green energy is available in a lot of them. But we've asked every country to go back and see what is the availability in their organisations of using or changing to green energy. I gave you an example earlier of India, and I've asked all of the major sites to go back and carry out energy audit, because it's simple things like changing light bulbs or low energy light bulbs using motion sensors and things like that can make significant differences, and making changes to air conditioning systems. So we've got 1,500 buildings around the world, and it's actually going back to them and putting those simple issues in place. What else are we doing? Well, it's obviously the whole area of investment. As I said, we have renewables teams who are investing significant amounts of money, around 800 million with renewables on different projects, and seeing what the availability and the investment and feedback times are in the same way we would do for any other project.
Thanks, Jason. And Chris, what do you need to do to get the investment you need at BT?
I have an ad for that first.
Yeah, please.
Don't go to Singapore at all. Use a video conference. Okay? Use a video conference.
That's exactly what we do.
Yes.
These negotiations for video conferences.
So the ROI on using video conferencing, audio conferencing, is about 25 to 1. So return in terms of against investment. So travel substitution. It's around using the technology to be smart. And we travel in BT, of course, and so one of the things we're trying to do there is change behaviour, and we're looking so that when people book their travel on the intranet, it comes back and tells them what the carbon footprint of the various travel options is going to be. We're working with our travel supplier to do that. Behaviour change is, of course, low cost, and we've run campaigns, one called the Big Switch Off in BT, to encourage people to turn lights off, terminals off, and so on. We have a new ideas scheme, and in that we encourage people to put in new ideas for energy savings and carbon reduction. In the data centres, where we have racks of servers, people tend to create applications or services, applications internally, and then at the end of life they forget to tell the data centre that that's no longer required. And so there's quite a lot of legacy systems running in the data centres, and we've had a campaign to encourage people through the new ideas scheme to identify redundant systems and take them out of service. That's had a very significant payback, roughly £1 million of energy reduction for an investment of about £60,000. If you can embed carbon reduction in the natural investment cycles of the business, that's the most efficient way of doing it. So where we are refurbishing offices or refurbishing network equipment, then we look to build in low carbon solutions into that, so that it becomes business as normal as opposed to special business cases going forward. And that's always the best way of achieving it. If you have got unique business cases, then electricity consumption is an operating cost versus capital investment may be to reduce OPEX. These are often different budget lines, so different people own these. And capital expenditure for us as a company is always under huge demand. upgrading the UK's networks, costing us in the order of £10 billion. So when you're then in competition for capital expenditure, it's tough. So, and even the cost of carbon, looking forward, maybe cost of carbon of €40 by 2030, doesn't actually make that much difference. You know, for us, our electricity consumption is probably about 150 million-ish per year. That sounds like a big number. It is a big number on the one hand. On the other hand, with a turnover of 20 billion and associated running costs, it's actually not a very big percentage of the whole. So it's actually quite difficult sometimes to raise the profile. This is where the determination of the board and the values of the business come in, and the desire actually, the recognition that we need to do something about this. So it's a combination of business cases and recognition that it's an important issue. Two more things, one time. So look at what you've done and ask the question sometimes, why do we do it this way? So when I go into network centres in BT, 80% of the electricity runs the network and 20% cools it. When I go into a data centre, 50% of the electricity runs it and 50% cools it. And why is that? And after a lot of digging, it turned out that the reason is that data centres have certain standards around them which go back to old mainframe computers. The old films where the magnetic tapes would go between the tape drives. If the humidity was too high and the temperature too high, they would snap. So that set the standard for mainframe computer boards. Data centres are still run to those standards, except you won't see a magnetic tape anywhere in a data centre. Even our customers build those standards into the contract requirements that we have to supply to the customers. So it's not an easy thing just to change those standards. But we're working now and working in the industry to try and change the mindset around why data centres are so expensive to cool when network equipment isn't, even though a lot of it is very similar. And then finally, consumer products. We can make some of the consumer products much more energy efficient for our customers at cost to us. So our customers get the return on our investment. And that's a tricky one because, as I was saying earlier, the pricing points on these products are so tight that if we increase the price, we're unlikely to sell the product.
Great, thank you, Chris. And Becky, a few comments on the investment climate at Burts.
I think one of the main goals in environmental policies is getting senior management buy-in, and we're fortunate enough to have a boss who's driving it forward himself. I think one of the main things to do is get it right from the start. I mean, we're about to be putting a £4 million new line in, and it's been designed to take various things into account, like the water recycling, like heat transfer systems to reclaim some of the heat. Other things are just simple. They save you money, just a few hours work educating staff. For example, recycling. I mean, we recycle practically all the waste we produce from the factory by the simple means of separating it out. It's just about educating people. Recycled paper we've been using for 6 years plus in all our correspondence. We recycle paper from the offices. So it's easy to get the first few steps on the way, and once you've got those first few steps moving, then you can think about the investment side of it. I mean, the borehole costs a few £1,000s to drill, and then that's free water pretty much